This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our partner, Audible.
Yes, it is. So we are partnered with Audible. That means that if you are looking just to check it out, you don't want to put your card in and just take the dive. You can get 30 days for free on us. If you go to audibletrial.com/JATG or click the link down below, you'll be taken there. You can sign up for 30 days for free and just test it out. Like there's a lot of stuff on there that you can get for free, a lot of Audible exclusives. But what I really like about Audible is that out of the hundreds and thousands of audiobooks that they have, if you decide to purchase something, that is yours forever. Like if you decide not to carry on your subscription or you want to take a break or whatever it is, you can always go back and listen to that book whenever you want through the app on the internet. Doesn't matter because it's yours. So once again, you can get that for 30 days for free on us if you go to audibletrial.com/JATG.
Go. Like I said, pretty quick on Twitch. Johnny and the Greg. Welcome one, welcome all. That's the Greg. I'm Johnny, and with us is Tina. Oh, I gotta go that way. Tina.
What's up?
Welcome back, Tina.
Hi, thank you.
No, you were right. She's on the other side.
Was she?
Yep. On the Twitch stream, she is, and I'm down below. So you guys are up here.
Got it. Okay. All right. Welcome one, welcome all comments. Welcome. That was me. I always forget the feedback. Guys, how was your weekend?
Good. How are you?
Really? I would think your weekend was shitty.
That's what I thought he was going to say. Like, how was it?
My weekend went as expected.
You didn't expect to win that game?
I didn't expect to be in that game.
Okay.
To tell you the truth.
All right. Real quick, real fast, just so people don't know, Tina and the Greg here are Green Bay Packer fans. And holy shit, what a game that was, by the way. That was a great game. Like, that was a good game. Good. They hung in there. There were some throws that Jordan Love made that I was like, oh my gosh, beautiful. You know, and then at the end, he pulled a Favre.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. That is really, I mean,
that was actually the only bad pass he threw.
I mean, how many Packers seasons end with an interception? Like, I can tell you many. Is what it comes to. There are many.
What would you rather have, Greg? An interception or a missed field goal?
I think we had a few of them in the game anyway, right?
Yeah. You know, why get rid of your Hall of Fame kicker for the worst kicker in college in the draft? Why?
No, I'm serious though. Just seriously. Would you rather have the interception or the missed field goal?
They both suck. I mean,
both are horrendous.
I think it may be an interception because then that is a defender doing his job. Like you could say he was, you know, somebody didn't run the route correctly. The defender just made a great play on the ball because as a professional, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
For a kicker to miss a field goal, that's your job.
That's literally your one job.
Like, literally. That's what you get paid, usually millions of dollars to do. Like, and you don't. Yeah. And I don't understand it.
I have a theory about that they should basically stop with the kicking field goals.
Yeah, I would be okay with that.
And just call it 7 points or
No, don't call
just do two, just 2 point conversions.
Just 2 point conversions, or you get what do you call it? There is fourth down you can punt, or fourth down you can go for it. Like, keep it football, because to me it would be maddening if I've done everything I can to get my team down, and this little guy walks out and he shanks it, and all of our hard work, everything gone.
Just like the game that just ended.
Yeah. It happens a lot, and unfortunately, I think it happens a ton with Buffalo. Minnesota, which should make Greg happy. This happens a lot with Minnesota. They miss field goals that have cost them huge games in their
and that's
history.
At the same time when you win by a field goal like that, but it's the last play of the game and the kicker wins the game for you. That's where it's like, well, this is why he's one of the highest paid players on the team. I mean, this is why he brings in that. What I don't understand in the Packers situation, and I alluded to it before, like we got rid of a really good kicker. Like Crosby still, well, I mean, did he miss some last season? Yes, but he still was a clutch player.
Mm-hmm.
And he's drilling them for the Giants now. And
was he?
Yeah. They put him out there, and he was doing good. And we got rid of him, and we brought in a terrible draft pick. I mean, there were missed opportunities last night in that game. So it's not like just the field goal, but if you look to where we could have scored, we're in the end zone twice. Didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
We should have had a couple pick sixes. I mean, that or at least a couple picks that were like taking away scoring drives.
Yeah.
That was there because it literally hit the defender in the hands. And then like one missed field goal attempt, you're like, what the hell? So
yeah. So as I always say, all calls or all comments welcome. What do you guys think? You think we should forget about field goal kicking? Change the game that way, just make it more about just the players on the field, not that little guy that runs out there and kicks extra points and stuff. I know there's some soccer fans and there's some soccer fans and some
what other sport are you thinking of?
I'm trying to
rugby?
Yes, that's it. People out there that are like kicking's a big part of the game and stuff like that. But okay. I'm just saying, what do you guys think? You think we should get rid of that? You think we should not?
So there have been a lot of advertisements for is it the UFL?
United UFL, yes. That's the new one, right? Yeah.
Which is XFL and some other league combined. Do they have different rules on it, or are they still field goals are a thing? Or because I know there's some rule changes.
I think they still have rules on field goals. That's part of the game. But I know they have different rules of other things, which, I mean, I'm a big fan of the overtime rule in college. I know most people aren't, but I'm a big fan of that. I think that would just be fun watching, like when overtime, what is it? In overtime, you get an opportunity to score a touchdown, and then the other team has an opportunity to answer it. Unless you score a touchdown, right? So like Greg, if I have the ball and it's overtime, I drive down, I score on you, it's over, right? The only time you get to answer it is if I kick a field goal instead. Right?
I think it's first one to score a touchdown wins.
Correct. Okay. But didn't they switch it because of the Bills and Chiefs game from 2 years ago? That's what they were talking about earlier today, that because the Chiefs had ended up going for the touchdown and the Bills never got the ball back, which I have been complaining since the Packers were against the Cardinals and we lost 45-51 because
I remember that game.
We tied it up and all of a sudden it's like the Cardinals got the freaking ball back and now we never even got a chance. And I've been saying it since that game many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And I think they were supposed to change it, that both teams are supposed to have now an opportunity regardless if you get the touchdown or not.
Right. So each team gets one possession from the opponent's 25-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
If the game remains tied after the first overtime, they go into a second overtime. Blah, blah, blah. First overtime is normal scoring rules apply. If one team scores, they must attempt a 2-point conversion.
I think is that NFL or college? That sounds like college.
That's college. Yeah. That's what you asked, the college overtime rules. So that's what I'm defining.
No, I knew the college overtime rules. I didn't know the NFL overtime rules.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's okay. Weapon X, glad to see you're listening again. It's been part of the game for so long. Why change it now? Are we talking about field goals? If that's the case,
field goals, yeah.
If that's the Marshall, you could do that with a lot of the things like
the way that pass wasn't a part of the game in its original state either, and that made a rule change. So
yeah, Marshall.
I think once something is not fair, once somebody can't get a score or, a game is lost because of a a rule that doesn't allow both teams to do something, that's when something's going to be changed. Or, like all of the new rules from last year to this year, it's because either somebody got hurt or something happened. So there's always going to be new rules that are going to be in place, and it's going to piss off a lot of people. But at the same time, if a lot of games keep being decided by a field goal and these players are not doing their job, then if they might end up changing something at some point,
Yeah. What do you guys think of the tush push?
I love the name of it.
Yeah.
The quarterback sneak.
I think if you can't stop it, that's on you. That's how I feel about it. So
I don't see it's pushing the pile. I mean, it's been around for.
I mean, it's not a pretty play, but
no,
it works.
It's right up there with
and then go around.
It's right up there with like, well, why wouldn't a linebacker just step on a lineman's butt and launch himself to block a field goal?
No, that's not at all like that.
Well, it's the equivalent of like, is it illegal? I mean, if they do it and it works.
No. What are you talking about? If a linebacker were to jump on somebody to block a
like if he runs
that is
up,
illegal.
Like
that is illegal
to jump up and just you can't launch yourself off of.
No, that's illegal. Yeah.
Okay.
You can't do that. You can jump over the pile. I've seen a guy from Seattle do it. He's jumped over the pile, but he actually jumped over the pile. He didn't like touch somebody and launch off. He didn't
like launch off one of them.
No, he jumped over the pile. It was pretty impressive. Anyway, Tina, you have some strange NFL facts, don't you?
I have a couple.
Yeah. Give us a couple. Yes.
The season ticket wait list in Green Bay is well over 1,000 years long.
Mm-hmm. I think every Packer fan knows that. They're like, my great grandpa put my name on the list, and it might happen in my life.
It's very, very long. Like I put TJ on the list when he was born, and he's 12 years old, and we're nowhere near zero.
Really?
It's
okay. All right. I just know that people that have been on the list, and it's like in 2 weeks they get called. So that's why I'm like, is it really? Maybe it depends on where you're seated or how it works. I don't know, but
or how much money you put towards it.
Maybe that might have a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But that's always a cool thing. I've always said Green Bay is a very cool atmosphere, and I'm quite jealous as a Bear fan that we don't have something like that. We have very hard parking by a museum.
Yeah.
That's what it is there.
By a city in a city owned
in a
stadium.
City. It is city. Yeah. Anyway, get another one. Give us another fact.
Walter Payton only won a single rushing title in his career.
Yep, I knew that one.
Wow.
You knew that one. I don't know any of these.
Yeah.
So I guess they're not that bad.
It's not that easy actually to win the rushing title. Like consecutively.
So now this is really good because we beat the Cowboys, but the Cowboys had never won a game in Lambeau Field until 2008.
Okay.
So their first encounter between the two coincidentally came in 1960 at Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
And that's the starting
point.
Ice
Bowl, right? Yeah.
Huh? The Ice
Bowl? Ice Bowl.
Is that what it was? Yeah. Before
I think so.
It took until the Cowboys' 10th trip to the frozen tundra in 2008 to grab a victory in Week 3 of Aaron Rodgers' first season as a starter in Green Bay. Let me go back to how our weekend kind of sucked with us losing to San Francisco. I personally thought that they were not going to lose because we didn't have Aaron Rodgers. I didn't care about the fact that we were a rookie team, or I didn't care about a young team. I didn't care about any of that. In my eyes, if you know anything about Aaron Rodgers and how he's all pissed off that he wasn't going to San Fran when they didn't draft him, and I think in his head mentally it was always going to be a block, and that's why we lost to San Fran every single time, and I thought for sure that we were going to get past them. We were going to make it a good game, and because we don't have that stigma of like, oh, Aaron Rodgers and San Fran, he wanted to be there, and instead he was in Green Bay. So that's just my personal opinion on that.
Okay. All right. I will counter that opinion with just saying he's all about himself, and this was the first time you were all about team.
I like that too.
So
I like that too.
Greg, Tina,
Yeah.
you don't know. There's a part of me when it comes to shows that if it gets too real or it gets too uncomfortable, I'm out of the show. I'm done. I want no part of it. Get me the hell out of there. Um, so I'll give you an example, Tina. Do you know the show True Blood?
I know of it.
Okay, so you know what it's about, though. You know, it was an HBO show. It like, picked up a lot of it was real popular for a very
Was
long
that a
time.
vampire one
Yeah.
too? Yes.
Vampires and other things.
Yes.
Okay. And other things. Got it.
So there was a situation that happened where I was into the show, and then a scene happened where I said, I'm out. I don't care about watching this anymore. I'm done. And it was literally two vampires having coitus, and one vampire, as he was behind her, twisted her head around
Huh.
to watch her. I mean, so they could watch each other. It just gives me the willies now. So I from that point, I'm like, I'm done. And I hit it. And Ursula was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm done. I don't need to see this. I'm going to go upstairs and do push-ups or something. I can't watch this. I got to get this out of my head. So there was a new show that came out that I told Greg last year, hey, have you checked out the show Yellowjackets? Because it's really good. I really liked it. It has a lot of different type of genres in there that work well with each other. But there was a moment where I watched it and I said, I'm out. And so I haven't seen it since.
You said it was in the second season. So
In
you
the
had made
second
it through
season.
a whole season, really got hooked into it.
Yes. So Greg has watched both seasons now. He actually he got it somehow, and him and his wife, like, they binged it. They loved it, right? You guys loved it, right?
Somehow, like I pirated it or something. I didn't
Right,
pirate
that's what it
anything.
sounded
I paid for it, and then
Oh, okay.
we
I
watched
didn't know.
it.
I didn't know. So how did so Greg, your thoughts on that show?
Well, it's an award-winning show. I mean, it's not like
it's a good show.
It's a random kind of thing. I really enjoyed it. There is a good mix of mystery and like some supernatural stuff, and it's both drama. There's some action. There's some supernatural. There's a lot of survival kind of elements to it. And so my wife and I just started watching it, and then we immediately got sucked in. We were doing usually 2 episodes a night, and so we got through it in a couple of weeks. And when John said that he tapped out at one point in the second season, we were about halfway through the second season, and I was like, "This must be the point where Johnny tapped out."
Yeah,
Greg wanted to identify,
he wanted to guess.
When did he say, "Nope"? That's too
I
much.
think I have an idea because I didn't watch it, but I got the recap of it.
Right. I sent you the recap.
It sounded very, I actually want to watch it, but then that means I got to get like, Showtime or Paramount or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, should I just do it for the 7 days free trial? And then binge it?
Because guess what? My daughter has been watching, and my oldest daughter, she literally she was watching an episode a day. And then my wife and I were like, hey, we're going to the grocery store. My youngest daughter came downstairs, and my wife was like, please don't watch this episode with our youngest in the room. And so she complied. And then when we got back from the grocery store, blah, 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 blah. My youngest daughter was upstairs in her room. And then my other daughter was like, I'm going to finish watching that episode. She goes back to it. Within that time, they took it off. Like, now she has to pay extra per episode.
No.
Yeah. So she had like 2 episodes left in the first season. And now she's like freaking out. I'm like, oh, sorry. Like, and it's weird. It's the 21st. It's a weird date for
to cut it off.
A streaming service to be like, we're done. Like, you can't watch it anymore. Like, after this date. I'm like, what are they?
I hate when
what are they
happens.
doing? What?
Yeah.
Why?
I hate when
and for a show that's multiple years old now. Because it was like 2 years ago, the first season.
2021, yeah.
So it's just really weird. So I even hopped on Reddit, and I'm like, what is going on? I have no answers yet, but she couldn't finish it.
So it's funny you said that with Yellowstone. Ursula's really into that. She's watched the first. Okay, she's watched the first. What we didn't like on Hulu is you could watch the entire first season, and then you can go to the third season third season that had every other episode, and we were like, what? No,
It's so
like let's
dirty.
finish this.
I actually got what's the service that I'm watching it on?
Hulu,
Peacock.
Peacock. Okay,
Yeah,
So
that's a
Peacock
Peacock.
had for after Thanksgiving, like
yes,
the Black Friday, it was like $19 for the whole year. So
okay.
I ended up getting Peacock because when I was over at my boyfriend's sister's house, they had Apple TV and they had all of it, and I saw the first episode of the 5th season, and I was like, "What's going on here?" So then
Yeah.
I actually bought Peacock and then
Watch the whole
started
thing.
binging it. It's done. I'm done, and I'm like, all right, well. It was predictable with like the dialogue,
Yeah.
like I could just like say things not even knowing what was going to be next, and I'm just like, this is so predictable, but it was good.
Still good.
I did enjoy it. I
All
did.
right, going back to Yellowjackets.
Yes.
Yeah. When
Tina,
did you tap out?
Tina, do you want to guess when I tapped out?
I'm guessing it's the cannibalism.
Well, that's like what part?
But
I didn't. Well, I saw the recap, so
Okay.
I'm guessing that it's when I don't know which part, but like
Makes
I'm
sense.
assuming that it's when the girl by the fire and she
Girl
got
by the fire.
Nope, because that was in the first season.
Oh, it was
Okay.
okay. So the
Yeah.
second one,
So
then
there's
it would
a
be
second
the
one.
brother.
No. Greg, go ahead.
No.
See,
What's
I'm
your
thinking
guess?
it's the dream sequence when it was a baby.
A
Oh,
baby.
see, I don't.
No, that was a good one, but that wasn't it. I'll tell you the exact scene, and Greg, you'll probably pick it up right away. It's when they finally decided to burn their friend, like burn their best friend. They'd had a Viking fire and they burnt her.
Mm-hmm.
And as she
Yeah.
was burning, the snow fell on top
That's
of
the
her.
one I
Yeah.
just said. It was where she got
That's the
charred. where
first
she was
season, bro.
thinking-
You didn't get it in the second season
No,
at
I
all.
did. I did.
If you quit there.
No. It fell on top of her, and before you know it, like they walked out and they smelled it and they went to
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
That wasn't the first season.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Dude, I just fucking watched it.
I'm doing that to piss you off. That's why. That's
Yeah.
all, Greg.
So then I was
Look
right.
how red he got. He got as red as his
No, I'm like,
sweatshirt.
I know it was the first season.
But yeah, that's where I tapped out. I was like, you know what? That is way too close to being real. Because
Did you
there
not
is
see
there
that
is
coming?
something that happened with the people in the plane, and like there's
Oh yeah, the Chilean soccer team.
yes,
That happened.
Yes.
is that based off of that base?
Yes.
thing?
It's
Yeah,
not that I didn't know it was going to happen, Greg. What it is it told me it got so uncomfortable, and I think it got uncomfortable because literally, like I was telling you on Friday, I could see myself doing that. I could see
Mhm.
like if you're in a survival is brutal and it's harsh, and you will do some horrible things to yourself and to others to survive. And that spoke to me like, oh my God, I can't do that. So I knew cannibalism was a part of it.
Yeah.
I just had that one just said to me, if they're gonna do that and they're gonna show it and they're gonna make, and they maybe it's the music they had behind it and all of this, where I was just like, you know what, I'm good, I'm done. Was it the last episode? Because I remember when they were freaking out, the dude that got his leg cut off, the coach
the coach who
walked
I'm
out, saw that, and was like, "Oh no!" And he went
Yeah.
back into the
and
the
started
cabin.
crying. And I'm like, one, I'm surprised he's still alive.
Me too.
Because honestly, he would have had an infection and he would have died a long time ago. Because he lost his leg in the crash.
They didn't have antibiotics. They didn't do that.
No, they didn't have any. Like,
So in the
Didn't
second
girl
season,
cut off the leg, right?
yeah, like it was maimed, and then to even move him, she like took an axe and like chopped it off, and he passed out. And
It's
then
a
crashed
movie. It's a movie. It's basically fake.
it's a show. It's a show.
It's a show.
No, it's not. That part's not fake. That's not fake.
No, that actor really signed a
No.
contract.
I'm
and
saying
he
like
was
that can happen in real life. Like that all those things that, like, I don't know about all the batshit supernatural stuff, but
well, and that's what intrigues me Is it
Is it
batshit
real?
supernatural stuff, or do they just have multiple paranoid schizophrenics?
They don't really do a bad. They don't really do a. I'm sorry. They do a good job at not really of teasing it enough to not jumping the shark, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that term, Tina? Jumping the shark.
Mm-mm.
What that means is back in Happy Days. Happy Days was like the most popular TV show, and the
Yeah, with
Fonz
Fonzie.
was Fonzie until Fonzie jumped a shark in like the Hawaii special of Happy Days on water skis. He jumped the shark.
Mm-hmm.
And he's wearing his leather jacket and he has on shorts like I think they were like the Hawaiian shorts and he literally jumps the shark. And after that the ratings plummeted.
Yeah.
So that's what that term means when it
Okay.
comes to shows like oh they jumped the shark.
Okay. And because I'm reading summaries now,
Yes.
John, I
Yes.
formally apologize. It's episode 2 of season 2
Yes.
because
What was the
she
baby?
she dies. The blonde girl dies.
Yes.
Shauna, or not Shauna.
Shauna.
Was that the one that was being cheated on, or
Yes,
right?
the one that was
Right.
being cheated on.
And then the girl
Because they had like a weird homecoming where they accidentally all do shrooms,
That's it. Yep.
and because there's one at the time, there's the coach, and then one other teenage guy who's
Yes.
just a jackass, honestly.
Yeah. He is.
But the girls kind of like assault him. Well, not even kind of.
wasn't it Jackie? Jackie's the one that died.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
Shauna is Melanie Linsky, and she's the one that
Yes.
comes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Got
go
it.
ahead, Greg.
So
Sorry. See, I was paying attention.
Because the whole assault thing happens, they force one girl to sleep outside. Like,
Yes.
they make Jackie
Jackie.
sleep outside.
Yes.
Now at the time, it's like fall, and they're in the Yukon, right?
Correct.
And then overnight, it hits freezing temperatures. It snows. They find her frozen to death.
Yes. Yes.
And by
Can
the
we
way, if you
can we
have-
pause on that for a second? Do you buy that?
yeah,
Because she was
So
close
do
enough
you
to
think
the-
that if you fall asleep,
yeah,
that you won't wake up because you're cold?
well, she was already cold. Like in the show, she was already cold and shivering to the point where she fell asleep. It was because her body was starting to shut down. That's how
Okay,
you
okay.
freeze to death.
Okay,
Is
no
your
one
body
explained
shuts
that to
down.
me.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there thinking, there just comes a certain point where you know, like right in there, and like, look, pride ain't that much to where you'll
Well, and
sit
that's
out
what they're
there.
saying is that she was stubborn enough. They're like, you need to come inside. She's like, no. And so,
no.
and
Wow.
that's
Okay.
how freezing to death happens. Is like, yeah, it sucks when you're shivering and convulsing and stuff like that, but then you stop being cold, and then you just fall asleep, and that's how you
Oh.
die.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
they say freezing to death is a very peaceful way to die because you just fall asleep and you never wake up again. But that's what happened to her. And then they opened the second season with Shauna's like doing Jackie's makeup. Like they have her in like the cold shed and like talking to her, like hallucinating, talking to her.
Yes.
And that's when they find out about it. They're like, you need to let go. And so
we need to bury her. Yeah.
well, they give her like the Viking funeral.
The Viking funeral.
And,
yeah.
And that's when
They smell
they more or less slow roast her overnight.
Fun fact, I don't know if you would catch this, Greg. I'm not sure how your movie eye is, Tina. That's why I'm saying it to Greg.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie out there called Antlers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, have you seen it?
I won't watch Antlers.
Well, that's interesting. Why? Because you say like you don't have a.
I have no interest in it, I think.
Okay.
But I know it's a horror film, and I know that.
Right.
Yeah.
So the house that is in that is the exact same house that the older versions of them go to find Travis. Like it's Travis's house when they're grown up. It's the exact same house. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's the same house from Antlers.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So they use the same set there.
So are you asking like the movie eye like to catch things like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Are you that person that you can catch that?
I am the type of person that will pay attention to all the background stuff, and
Okay.
I'll watch a movie a couple of times to be like, I know I've seen that somewhere, or I
Mhm.
know I
Yeah.
just that's I can catch certain things.
Well,
I
Hill
like that.
Valley from Back to the Future, like Save the Clock Tower, Hill Valley
Yeah.
is in thousands of movies.
Is it really? I didn't know
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. That's the Universal backlot in LA.
That town specifically?
Well, it's not a town, but it's the facades that they all built, and then like if you can go visit that, like
Right. But what
it's
I'm
through the
asking
backlot.
you is it just, I mean, they don't really change the town, or is it like
They'll
they
dress
use
it.
that lot for like the Western? So they change
No,
the,
they'll no, yeah, they'll dress it up differently depending on what the shoot is. But like if you go on the tour
yeah.
and you're like, oh well, this is Hill Valley. But then if you watch Gilmore Girls for any amount of time, you're like,
Oh, it's Hill
well,
Valley.
that's Hill Valley. Or if you
Oh,
The Shining,
no shit.
the no the sequel, Doctor Sleep. Like
I thought so.
when he's
Yes,
at
you're
that
right.
when he's at that park, you're like, that's Hill Valley. Okay.
That's Hill Valley. That's right. That's right.
So
Shit.
yeah, once
Awesome.
if you do that backlot tour and you see it, you're like, they'll list off. They're like, okay, from this angle you see Hill Valley, from this angle you see Stars Hollow, from this angle you see, and they just list off like all the different
Wow.
films that
That's
happen there.
cool. That's cool. Tina, are you a fan of the Emmys?
I don't watch award shows.
Neither
I'm
do we.
so bad. I'm so
No,
bad.
no, that's not, you're not bad. It's just something happened at the Emmy Award show that got my attention. I wanted to talk to Greg about it. I didn't know if you were into it. You know the show The Bear, both of you?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, it's a
Do
great
you
show. Great show.
I think it's a fantastic show. Do you think it's a comedy?
Um, yeah, I think I know where you're headed with this. Kind of depends on
No.
the episode, but I think
It
mostly
says
no.
that it's a comedy drama.
But that's what's funny because
It
I
is
think
more drama.
it's way more drama. So there was a theory that somebody was talking about on one of the shows I listened to like during the day, one of the radio shows. Can a whoever is in charge of putting their show in a ballot, can they actually say what it is versus what it really is? Therefore, they wouldn't like the theory is it was so drama filled. There were such good dramatic
Mhm.
shows that you could take your show knowing it's not going to win and say, hey, we have this one funny part, so that makes it a comedy and it moves over here. So now you have more of a better chance of winning. And that's what people think the Bear, whoever's in charge of that, the producer, the director, the creator of the show, who's ever in charge of that, they're saying that he put comedy in it so that they could win an Emmy because they wouldn't
Do
win it going against Succession.
I don't know. I don't know
I
if
don't know if
that's
you
the
can do that.
producer
Okay.
or is that whoever's part of the nomination board for the Emmys
Got it.
say best comedy or drama. Yeah, we'll take the Bear. Where other award shows are gonna be like, nope, that's a drama.
Right.
Because Jeremy Allen White won
Best actor.
he won Best Actor Emmy, but I think it also won for the Screen Actors Guild Awards.
Did he win best actor in a comedy or best actor in a television series type thing?
I
You know,
I didn't
okay.
watch the SAGs.
Didn't Macaulay Culkin's brother win for Succession? Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, which is very well deserved. Have you watched Succession, John?
I have not. Ursula's all about that show. I didn't watch it.
It's pretty intense. So she's already watching it. Like, so you're not going to go back and watch.
Yeah. Do you know how I picture Succession? I know everything about it in terms of what it's about. To me, it feels like that's what's going on at like Hallis Hall.
Yeah, I think you're probably not far off.
Or those shitty like actually it's probably what's also going on with the Lakers. You know, a dad builds up an empire and the kids are just at each other's throats to get it.
See, yeah, he was nominated for a SAG for outstanding performance by a male actor in a comedy series.
Interesting. Okay, so they consider it a comedy.
Well, but you know what? I'm looking here. Like every every show on here
Yeah.
that's listed in comedy is
Yes.
just a comedy. You got 2 actors from Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, mostly a comedy, heavy dramatic stuff in there.
Okay.
Like there really is. Bill Hader from Barry,
Yeah.
kind of comedy, also a lot of very heavy like PTSD
Yeah. Okay.
kind of stuff. And then 2 actors from the Bears. So they're weirdly blurring that line. And I think, I think that's been happening for years. I mean, look at Robin Williams, comedic actor, heavy drama actor. Like did a lot of that. So
well, you and I have talked about that. Like we think really good comics, it comes from a place of tragedy.
Yeah, for a lot of them.
In a dark place. It actually comes from a dark place. So I think it's very easy for them to go into that space for a dramatic thing.
Well, one of my so it's a couple of my favorite stand-ups right now. Taylor Tomlinson. She just got a show on primetime, some kind of game show.
Never heard of her. Okay.
Oh, she is hilarious.
Yeah, I've never heard of her.
She's got like 3 specials on Netflix. You should go watch them.
Okay.
But she's full on talking about like what she talks to her therapist about. I mean,
okay.
Like some tragic upbringing kind of stuff that she's turning into comedy gold. But very, very funny. And same thing with Eliza Schlesinger.
Yes, I know her.
Taking shit that women have been dealing with for centuries.
Yes.
And turning it into comedy.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think a lot of comics are taking tragedy, turning into comedy. And then there are some that don't, and you're like, okay, well, you're funny enough.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Tina,
I'm just looking up all the people that you're talking about right now.
Taylor Tomlinson, you should really watch her stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll look her up.
Very,
out of here.
very funny.
I'll look her up when we're out of here. Tina, you got some strange facts other than NFL stuff?
I have a few.
Go ahead. Go.
The leg bones of a bat are so thin that out of the 1,200 species of bats, only 2 can walk on the ground. These are the vampire bat and the burrowing bat.
Really?
Just saw on TikTok. I think they were. I don't know where they were. I can't remember where it was at, but they had a skylight, and it's like this giant ass bat trying to get in my house, and it showed like a big old fruit bat.
Ooh.
Like,
yeah, those are. If you don't understand that creature, that's a very scary thing.
Yeah, I mean, because they're huge. That's like a flying fox kind of thing.
Yeah,
because that's what they look like, as a fox.
Yes, they do,
with big ass wings.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, while we're on TikTok, we'll get back to you in a minute, Tina. There's something going around in TikTok right now. My aunt sent it, and a couple of my friends sent it, where according to whoever, on some sort of newscast, they put down what the Super Bowl is already, who the players were in the Super Bowl. Greg, you sent me something on Instagram showing you that somebody found out that the logos of the Super Bowl can almost match the teams that are going in there before the teams even go in there.
Really?
So like this year is the purple and red. So right now, who would you say is purple and red that can go to the Super Bowl? Right? So that those 2 teams were actually it said like something like it was telling you what the musical performances were for the Super Bowl again from the Ravens versus the 49ers February 11th. Okay. So my aunt, everybody's sending me stuff like, see, John, it is fake. It's fixed. And I'm like, oh my God. There's also a picture out there right now. You can find it. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'll send it to you. All you got to do is type in Andy Reid kissing Taylor Swift. There is an AI picture where it looks perfect. Like you would sit there and think to yourself, oh my God, that really happened.
They already filmed it. It's already done.
So,
well, I can tell you what, without using AI, I can tell you that they probably already have thousands of T-shirts and hats.
Yes, that was what I was going to get to.
Printed up.
Yes.
And then when that team doesn't win, those companies
to Ethiopia.
They donate them all to
like
countries that need that kind of donation.
Yep.
and then they take it as a tax write-off.
Yep, exactly. So what I was trying to say is, for those of you that think that that's evidence towards the NFL being rigged, number one, AI can fool almost anything nowadays. So somebody could have created that on their computer and then took a snapshot and said, "Hey, look, the news says this." Okay.
True.
Also, news people, they create at least probably however many combinations you could have had in the Super Bowl before the playoffs. They've already written out those on graphics. They've already done it. So somebody could have put that up there by accident. So it doesn't mean that it's fixed. If anybody thinks the NFL is fixed, you probably think the world is flat as well, because for it to be fixed, I'll just give you one perfect example. So a kid busts his ass all the way through high school, through college, wins the Heisman, #1 pick, and you're telling me that somebody's going to give him a script and say, "Guess what, man? You're a bust." And he's going to go along with that? You really think that if you handed a script to Tom Brady and said, "Hey, man, you're undefeated, but this year you're going to lose the Super Bowl to Eli." Not only that, you're going to lose
It's
it
off of a
twice.
helmet catch.
Yeah. Do you think that actually do you think like Tom's going to sit there and go, "Okay"? Or right now with Josh Allen, do you think he's going to sit there and go, "Okay, so I can't ever beat Patrick Mahomes"? Got it. Okay. No. Like, so anybody that sits there and thinks, you guys are kind of looking up in the skies, like you can almost, do you think it's fixed? Am I
I
preaching to
think
the
that
choir?
Taylor Swift and Kelsey are fixed. I don't think
Oh,
that
but that's just
necessarily.
publicity stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's different. That's not changing the game.
No, I don't think it's fixed. I do think it's a little bit rigged, though. Where
You mean with calls?
Yeah, where the NFL as a business wants these two teams to go to the NFL because all the market research is saying that that's where we're going to get the most bang for our buck. So if we can miss some calls, do some weird stuff, I'm not above saying that somebody might take a dive or get an injury or as we can see with some of the calls, this came in from New York. Hey, you need to go into for concussion protocol. Let me see the play. And they don't show the replay. But here's this guy that's got to go now back and miss how many different series to be evaluated when all they're doing is taking out a starter.
You
I
believe all this, Tina?
I agree. I agree to it to a point. Absolutely. I don't think that it's necessarily, I don't think
it's
it's
paying
fixed,
people off to take a dive.
but yes, and referees, everybody knows that there are, like, in the NBA and all the other, sports.
No, stop. We're not talking about different sports, because that's
I
a
know.
big that's a
But I
wide
think
pool. That's all
it's
I'm
a
saying.
very wide pool, but it happens, and I don't think that it's too far off from finding out that some of these plays or some of these calls are because they want it to go a certain way. The players are going to do whatever they can to do what they can, but there are certain things that are always going to be in somebody else's hands, and if you have a referee, it's going to be in somebody else's hands.
Okay, so you guys don't chalk that up to human error.
Not always.
They have enough replays to counter, the human error aspect of it. But like he's saying, sometimes they don't show something. Sometimes they go so fast, like this one was a pass interference. Oh, how about this? There was a call where, the two player, it was, our game, and they're all roughing each other off on the sidelines. Well, instead of just saying one team is bad,
Roughing each other off.
like they're just battling each other. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be,
It's like that leg massage that they showed on camera.
Yeah,
Making eye contact.
Table.
Aggressive contact.
But they, now they're starting to be like, well, now we're not going to say that it's just one and throwing a flag on one team because they're both going at each other, right? So now they're stopping that, at least that call, because I'm like, well, what the fuck? The other guy is hitting this guy. You're only calling the second guy who's actually retaliating against the first guy. So there's some things
Oh,
that are
time out,
still
time
in
out.
their
That's a
balance.
bad example because that happens on school playgrounds. If a kid hits me and I hit them back, 9 times out of 10, the teacher's busting me for doing it.
Yes, but
That you
now they're
can't go
starting
with
to
that.
call it to where they're not going to make it just the one team. It's going to be, a foul on both teams, and it,
Or the
balances
flop.
each other.
Like we saw that. I
The
mean,
flop is ridiculous. The
Oh,
the
flop is
Packers got a
ridiculous.
flag because he totally flopped
Yes,
last
yes,
night. I'm just like,
yes.
You're not,
dude,
you're not, you're not saying that
But
the
but
other
come
guy
that's
on.
not
didn't
that's
survive?
not the
Not
NFL
that he did not hit it.
hoping the
He went
Packers get there.
and he went whoop, like took his own legs off from him. Like that's flop.
Can you say there
No,
was any play in that Packer 49er game that should have gone one way, but it didn't go that way? I can't remember, but I'm not saying that to say, aha. I'm just saying that because I literally can't remember.
I'll be honest, I fell asleep right before the second half, or like right before the halftime. Oh yeah, I was on the couch because I was starting to get mad there for a second. I fell
There
asleep and then I
were-
woke back up in the third quarter.
there were two times where the spot was terrible.
Oh, the spot.
Like
Okay.
where they
placed
put the ball.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
And here's what I don't get.
Yeah.
In a world where the NFL is touting what technology we have to help perfect this game, we're still calling first downs because of 2 sticks.
Mm-hmm.
That's bullshit. And 2
Well,
sticks.
no,
and
I agree with
2
that.
sticks, and then the eyes of one guy going, "Nah, he was right there." And when they did the replay, it was like, no, he wasn't there.
Right.
Like that's
But
a bad
you-
spot.
Right. But here's the problem though. Okay. When I see where you guys are coming from, but what you guys are maybe not realizing is they're not going to stop the game for every single I see
don't
it
have
this
to.
way, but now because the camera showed me this, now it has to be this way. You can't, the game will be 4 hours.
And you don't have to do that.
Because here's another thing. I know for a fact, because I've been at parties, and it's one of the reasons I don't go to Super Bowl parties anymore, is because I will see something clear as day, in my opinion, and the other person, whether he's emotional about it or not, or whether I'm emotional, sees something completely different on the exact same play.
I mean, the first the first down markers, they've got cameras in them now.
Right, yeah,
Like,
but we're not talking about
you-
first down markers as that's the reason why it's rigged.
No, but I'm saying like there are simple solutions to what seem to be complex problems that the NFL is like, no, because possibly, like, if I'm being a conspiracy theorist,
Yes.
that's something that they're like, we can fuck with the results then.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't believe it, but that's fine.
It-
I don't need to. Maybe,
it's-
hey, I'm assuming since the
or they're
three of
just
us are here,
they're allowing human error to happen.
I
Or
think you do that.
things
I
that
think
don't
you
need
do
to
that
happen.
with a lot of sports. Like, I think you should have AI ref it.
Is it fast? I don't think AI is fast enough to ref
Right
game.
now, no, but I'm sure
No.
in the future.
Do-
You get
do they
AI,
have
you
anything
get
in the
AI to,
ball?
huh?
Do they have anything in the ball right now? Because they can
Like a microchip?
something like that can, because if
They
they start
should.
getting something like that, where then it'll literally get linked up with, let's say all the fields are now replaced with some sort of chip that
Yeah.
they can link up,
Right.
electronically
But
like that.
don't also forget that we have an advantage because we have those nice little painted lines where we see it clear as day, and we have the 75 different angles clear as day. They don't have all that. They go by what they see right there. And
Correct. Which is
most
what
of the
I'm saying. You
time,
don't
actually,
need to do
they're
that.
actually good. Most of the time, they're actually pretty correct. It's just every now and then they're off. But you're right. That happened twice in that game. I remember that. Yeah. I remember that.
So no, I don't believe it's predetermined because there's too many factors in there. And you're right. There's not you would have to have massive payoffs for players to
Forever.
be able to
Forever. Yeah.
And there's no way that, I mean,
they would keep quiet about it.
Exactly. I mean, take players. I've known some, not personally known, but I know of some players that have fallen on hard enough times that they would immediately go to the press and be like, "Oh yeah, the whole damn thing's rigged."
Correct.
And
Not
then-
only players, coaches.
Players, coaches, anybody involved.
Yeah.
But like I said, there are certain things that I think the NFL wants to see in some cases like matchups and things like that, or who they want to go to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what we can do to make this happen.
Mhm.
God, that would suck if I found that out. If I found that out, I'd be done.
You'd boycott it for sure. You'd be
I
done.
just what would be the point of watching if I found out it was all rigged? If
Well,
I found out it was basically WWF.
I was gonna say, then it
Yeah.
just turns into the WWE,
Yeah.
which has a massive following of people, and they watch anyway.
Do you
So
understand
there
that?
would-
Do you understand why for that? Like why?
because
If you know
okay,
it's wrong, you know it's
my
fake.
boyfriend friends, it's like their soap opera.
Yeah,
It's their
it's the
soap
male
opera.
equivalent of a soap opera, and
Yeah.
and
Oh.
then maybe that's gendifying it too much, but because honestly, I know guys that watch soap operas, and I know women that watch wrestling, so
I
it's
used
not
to
a big.
watch it when Hulk Hogan was good, and then he went into the NWO or whatever, and then he was bad, and I was like, I'm done. I can't do it. And I used to watch it with my stepdad. I mean, I used to watch Smiley and the what was it, the lumberjack guys or whatever. I mean, like
Mhm.
way
Hacksaw
back in
Jim
the
Duggan.
day.
I've
Okay,
met
like
that dude.
did you?
Did you?
Yeah, I got my picture. He was
Did he do that to you?
one. He is for a wrestler. He's not
Yeah.
real big in real life. He big dude. Like
Oh, I'm sure they're mountains.
I shook his hand. He's like literally like
Engulfed.
two of my hand just engulfed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met him at a Comic-Con in Michigan, and we were drinking at the bar and stuff like that, and we were just
Cool.
kind of hanging out.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan
Hacksaw
carrying
Jim
around that 2x4.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they had like some kind of regional wrestling at the thing, and they were, they're working their thing, or they're working a show like in the middle of a Comic-Con. Here's some guys wrestling.
Yeah.
And he's like, he got bored, like he had no one at his table. So he just went over and started working the ring with everybody else, and then
Yeah.
like just had a impromptu hacksaw Jim Duggan match. And like the two other wrestlers that were there were like, man, look at him. What is he doing?
All right, real quick. Because we were all young, that's when WWF seemed to really be popular.
It still is super popular.
Is
Like,
it?
You're not in it. Oh,
Is it really
absolutely.
popular? Okay. I didn't.
Absolutely it is.
I don't know.
Yes.
Tina, who was your favorite? Was it Hogan?
No, I really like The Undertaker was always
Oh, he
a
was
good one
cool.
for
He
me.
was
I
cool.
mean, it really was. But Bret Hart.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Hitman.
Fan favorite.
Yeah, Bret the
Hitman.
Hitman Hart. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then Snap into a Slim Jim,
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Macho Man. Elizabeth. Yeah. Greg,
Yeah.
who was your favorite?
Oh, probably like, because like my dad is still to this day huge into wrestling.
Yeah.
So I was definitely brought up with it. I was a big fan of I was always a big fan of Hogan, because you couldn't be a kid in the 80s and
Yeah,
not
not like
be a
Hogan.
fan
I'm
of
telling
some
you,
point-
I
at
loved
some
him
point-
until he started being a bad
Oh
guy,
yeah,
and I was like,
when he
no,
turned
fuck
heel, it
off.
was a big deal. I remember watching. I was
Yeah.
in college, and we had it was my first year of college, and like the guys in our dorm would all come to my room, because
Yeah.
we were like the central room, and we would watch Monday Night Raw, we would watch Monday Nitro, and like when he made that turn, we were like
Mhm.
clutching our pearls. We're like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I was
So, but growing up, Hogan, I liked Andre because he was just massive.
Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anybody
yeah.
who any like bodybuilder type that
Oh.
came out, I was a fan of.
I didn't know until recently that the Ultimate Warrior was actually two people. I didn't know that.
Was he really?
Yeah, one died from a heart attack, and the other guy took over, and then he died from like steroid overdose or
No,
something like that.
one of them became a United States senator.
No shit.
Yes. And
How did
that's
you
why
know that if you didn't even know that there was two people?
Oh, that's why I'm kind of like, I'm not totally sure that's the case, but
Google it. See if I'm wrong.
well, let me tell my story first.
No,
So
Google it.
I was a big fan of Hogan. I liked Andre. But anybody who had that real bodybuilder, just like Lex Luger,
Yeah.
was very ripped. Brutus the Barber Beefcake,
Brutus
when
the
he
Barber.
was one of the Steiner brothers got really big.
I don't remember the Steiner brothers.
They were WCW guys. I can't remember. One of them they were both from Michigan, and one of them, his motif was like they were both college wrestlers, and then one of them went into bodybuilding, but then they also both went into wrestling. So the thing about wrestling for me is like I don't watch it anymore, but anything that's like wrestling adjacent, I'm fascinated with. Like I love. Am I frozen?
No, I'm listening to you. Sorry.
Okay. You
Oh, I'm
neither
sorry, I was also
neither one of
Googling.
you were moving. And
Well,
I'm like,
I got on
am I
something. I
talking
don't
to
know if it's
myself here? What's going on? But I love the business of wrestling. Like MSNBC ran a big thing of like this is how wrestling originated.
right.
This is how we got to where we are now. And I found that to be fascinating.
Hmm.
Whenever they do it's almost like a 30 for 30, but it's
Like
on wrestlers.
behind the scenes. Yes, I
Yeah,
love
like
those.
behind the scenes stuff, dark side of the
Yes.
ring. I mean, all that
Yes,
stuff.
yes, that was good stuff.
I don't know why, but I'm like, ooh, what's going on here? And I
Yeah.
want to hear about it. And
Yeah.
like I was shocked when I found out, like, if you're a wrestler, like if you wrestle for Vince McMahon in the WWE, you're an independent contractor.
Yep.
You pay for all of your own travel, all of your own lodging, like all of that
Yeah.
is on you to get to the venue. And so it's almost like a slave trade. I mean, he
Yeah.
is just peddling in wrestler flesh.
You are a product.
Yeah, to
Yes.
build his product.
Yep.
And anytime you have an issue, like a health issue, like they don't get health insurance, and they're pretty much stuntmen. Like in my
Yeah.
opinion,
Yeah.
they are doing
Absolutely.
stunts.
Yep.
But they cannot be a part of the stunt union. If
Yeah.
anytime they have tried to unionize, Vince just destroys that movement. And most people that go into it, they never make it to the level where they can really survive on it.
Right.
And make like a big deal about it. So
yeah, and not only that, they destroy themselves.
Yes,
Just
like
absolutely. Like I don't think any of them can walk really right now.
well, and that's just it. When I've seen wrestlers at comic book conventions and things like that,
Yeah.
their knees are shot.
Yep.
And they're barely making it, which is why it was such a big deal. Nick Foley, Mankind was his wrestling name at the end. He would just punish himself. Like he was doing like weird matches where we're going to cover the ring in barbed wire and like just physically punishing himself. But he was making bank and he's like, I'm going to send my kids to college. This is what's going to pay for it. And it's so, yeah, just stuff like that. I love watching.
Wow.
I remember Chris Benoit, remember?
Oh yeah, when he died.
When he yeah. And
he
killed his wife and his son.
Yeah. And then
yes, I remember that.
3 days. I was like, what was the guy that like killed? I remember him, and it was
that was
sad
an interesting
because I really
special.
liked him. And then
because at first it came out that he was murdered. Like that was the original.
Right. Yeah.
And like they came out on a live thing and they're like, sorry, Chris isn't here tonight. Our condolences are with him and his family, And then as it started to come out more that he had a psychotic break and murdered his wife, then they're like, ooh, because then it looked like the WWF was supporting a murderer.
Right.
They're like, oh, wait. Same thing with like Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I think is still alive, but I saw a thing on him where like when he was at his height and was so much into the steroids and the drug use and then when he started to lose kind of his stardom, how he was just grasping at it until at one point I saw a video of him wrestling in Japan. Didn't even look like himself because he had lost so much weight. I think he did pass away, but it was just like, wow. Like the dark side of it all.
Yeah. It says here, did you know that the original Ultimate Warrior died in 1991 and he was replaced by the imposter Ultimate Warrior portrayed by Kerry Von Erich?
That's what I was looking up. That's when we were all when we were frozen. That's
what I found. If you keep reading this whole thing, and I'm reading Other Worlds Film Festival, it's actually one of those. Greg, help me out here. The Mandela effect. It's actually one of those where none of it's true, but this is what has been told for so long that everybody expects thinks it's right.
Okay.
So that's not. It wasn't It says none of that happened. Business declined sharply. Yeah, it's so there weren't two Ultimate Warriors. There was only one.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And he died of
because
a
Von
heart.
Erich, that's the
yeah,
new
the
Zac
Iron
Efron
Claw
movie.
guy. Yeah, I want to see
that's
that movie. Is that
that
good?
movie.
Did you see that?
I didn't see it. It's
wanna
not
see
something that I will. I'm going to watch it when
Uh-huh.
it comes on a streaming service or whenever I can watch it at home. It just wasn't something I was going to run out to the theater to see
Got it.
because I'm going to cry and I don't want to do that in public.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Greg,
Yeah.
I think it's about that time, sir.
Oh shit, it is, isn't it?
Yep. Let's get some
This
Polyjamoury going.
this actually came in. We have our first submission to Polyjamoury.
Nice.
Which I think is pretty dang cool. Cousin Clay forwarded me a group. I believe the group is I Met a Yeti, and their one song is Blue Eyes White Yeti. And I was like, what do we got here? What do we got here? And I listened to it. It's pretty good. So I figured
All right.
it's our first submission. I'm gonna
Absolutely
roll with it. And
love Cousin Clay.
yep, we're going to feature what Cousin Clay sent me. So if you can see that, and here we go. Blue Eyes, I Met a Yeti's Blue Eyes White Yeti.
All right, that's
Out
not
of
bad.
Orlando, Florida. They get a little screamo in there at the very end. So if you're not into that, fair warning. But yeah, there you go. Blue Eyes White Yeti. I Met a Yeti.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Tina,
Yes, sir.
we're getting to that point. Why don't you tell us
Oh,
Tina's joke of the month?
well, why didn't the dinosaur cross the road?
Why?
Roads weren't invented back then.
Jesus Christ,
John.
Tina.
Come on.
Ah,
You walked right into that one, literally.
no,
Okay, wait, I got another one though.
no, you only get
Yes,
one.
I do. I do.
No, it's
Why
called-
did the prostitute cross the road
Why?
to get to the John?
I see what you did there.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well,
Okay,
thank
those
you
are
for
it.
that. Appreciate
You're
that,
welcome.
Tina.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna be
Wait,
getting
wait,
going
wait.
here.
We still didn't discuss one more thing.
What's that?
Your birthday and my birthday are coming up.
We don't need to
I
discuss
told
birthdays.
you. I told you.
We
I was
don't
going
need
to bring
go
it
there.
up.
All right, what do you want to bring up?
The fact that we're both sexy
All right.
with our ultra platinum blonde hair.
Gotta agree on both counts. I mean,
All right. Thanks, Greg.
I'm just saying.
All right, sounds great. Thank
Happy
you so
early
much.
birthday.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Yes, I will be 48, Greg.
damn, you're getting old.
Fudge, I am. I'm starting to feel it too. Starting to feel it. All right. Today is National. I can't move my mouse to find out what National Day is today.
Wasn't
Anyway.
it the squirrel?
Yes, it's National Appreciation of Squirrel today. So if you're
Mhm.
appreciative of your squirrels around the area, today's the day. So
Flying squirrels. Any squirrel.
there you go.
Squirrel
So
in your head.
what's that?
The squirrel in your head.
Yeah, right. So for Greg, why don't you take us out?
Well, we're almost done with the first month of 2024, and hopefully you've followed my advice and do that for the rest of the week. Just don't be a douche.
There you go. For the soon to have a birthday, Tina and Johnny. That's the Greg down there. Take care, everyone. Podcast out. Blue-eyed white Yeti, take us out, please.
Describing summer